So, here we go, heart model. Again, just to reiterate, on the quiz on Tuesday, there's going to be stuff from the blood that we did at last class, and there's going to be stuff from the heart, so make sure you know it all. Don't let me forget to go through that EKG thing here quick too. So, here's the heart from the outside, okay, plastic model. I think it's good to look at this thing first. Change that. Let's go to that. All right, so this is the anterior surface. As I was telling somebody, there are grooves on the heart called the sulci, and inside of those grooves are where you find all the blood vessels. All right, so there's like an anterior interventricular sulci here, and on the back side there's a posterior interventricular sulci. Inside of those grooves are the blood vessels, but you didn't really see them on the sheep heart because then layered on top of the blood vessels is fat. Okay. But on this model, they're showing them. As I said before, there's some fat here, there's some fat there, and then there's some fat there, and that's what forms kind of that letter M that I was trying to talk about. So you know this is the anterior surface. What's this part of the heart called down here?
Apex.
That's the apex, okay, and then back here is the base, okay? What's this blood vessel coming up here? That's the pulmonary trunk, okay? What's this?
Aorta.
Yeah, that's the ascending aorta, okay? What's this guy here?
Superior vena.
Yeah, that's the superior vena cava. Here they cut it off, but what do you suppose that is? Inferior vena cava. On the back side, what are these four little guys?
Veins.
Which ones? Pulmonary arteries or pulmonary veins?
Pulmonary veins.
These are the pulmonary veins. Remember, this is the oddball situation. They're carrying freshly oxygenated blood that's just come from the lungs, all right? So there's the pulmonary veins. Unfortunately, on most of the sheep hearts, they cut so close to the surface of the heart that you don't see all four of these guys. You just see a big hole in the back of the heart. Okay? These guys coming out here, those are branches of the pulmonary trunk. So those are the pulmonary arteries that are coming there. Other things to see. What's this guy here? Which one? This is the left auricle, and this over here is the right auricle. Those are just extensions of the atria. Okay? In terms of actual blood vessels, you kind of you can't even really see the two main arteries are the right coronary artery and the left coronary artery. You don't really see those because, as I said, they're branches off of the aorta, and you have to pull the other stuff away. Now let's see if they did it on this model. I can't remember. I'm just going to take these apart. If I can. Okay, they did it. Good. Good for this model. All right. So this little guy that you see coming off here, it looks so small, but that's super important. That's your right coronary artery. And then this little guy coming over here is your left coronary artery. They go out, and then they branch. And so what you have, oops, sorry. This is the branch, this branch here and that branch here are branches of the left coronary artery. This is the anterior interventricular descending branch, also known as the LAD, also known as the left anterior descending. This guy going around the back is the circumflex artery. Okay? So those are both branches off of the left coronary artery. Over here are the branches off of the right coronary artery, and here this is known as the marginal branch, and then as it goes around the backside and comes down, that's known as the posterior interventricular branch. Okay. In terms of your veins, the big vein in front here is called the great cardiac vein. Okay. The vein on the backside is the middle cardiac vein. These little guys on the front over here, that's the small cardiac vein and the anterior cardiac vein. And then the biggest vein that you have is on the back side. This thing here is the coronary sinus. That's the pooling area for all of the other veins feed into this coronary sinus. And then the coronary sinus dumps its blood into the right atrium. This is the opening here of the coronary sinus into the right atrium. Okay. Other things to see here. Obviously, I can't really ask you about the pericardium on this because it's been removed. So, you know, if I'm going to ask questions about the pericardium, I'm going to probably use pictures similar to what you saw in the PowerPoints. So make sure you know the different layers, the fibrous pericardium, the serous pericardium that has the parietal and the visceral layer, the pericardial space, all that stuff. What else can I say about this? I think that's the main stuff from the outside. Oh, this thing over here, this is the pulmonary trunk. This is the arch of the aorta. There's something right here. It doesn't look like much, but it's really important in the fetus. What's that thing? Come on, you guys knew it.
We were just talking about it.
Yeah, that's the ligamentum arteriosum. All right, that in a baby, in an adult, it's nothing except like a little bit of tissue. But in a fetus, it's actually a little tunnel. It's not, at that point, it's known as the ductus arteriosus, and it allows blood to travel straight from the pulmonary trunk, bypass the lungs, and go right into the arch of the aorta. So it's another way, along with the foraminal valley, that you can bypass the lungs. All right, moving right along. I think that's all I want to show you on the outside. Let me open it up. Okay. So this is the inside of the heart. Okay. Up here, what's this? That's the right atrium, and over here is the left atrium. This wall that separates the right atrium from the left atrium, that's the interventricular septum. And on this model, they drew in color. This would be where the foraminal valley is, okay? That's the hole that allows blood to go straight from the, I don't know why they didn't color it in on this side, but that's the hole that allows blood to go straight from the right atrium into the left atrium. That's another way. So this thing, along with this thing, are ways that blood can bypass the lungs in the fetus. So that's the foraminal valley. It's called the foraminal valley only in the fetus, but when it closes up, it changes its name, and it's called the fossa ovalis. Okay. Other stuff you can see, as I said, that's the opening to the coronary sinus. This is the opening to the superior vena cava. That's the opening to the inferior vena cava. If you look on the inside, these are the insides of the auricles. And this pattern that you see on the insides of the muscle, that's called the pectinate muscles. Okay? It just has a special name up there. As you go down, what's this thing?
Tricuspid.
That's the tricuspid valve, or you could also call it the right AV valve. What are these little things attached? Those are the chordae tendineae, and the little muscles that they attach to, this kind of fell apart, but the little muscles that they attach to, what are they called?
Papillary.
Those are called the papillary muscles. Okay. Now, one of the things that's, I'm sorry. Also notice that on the insides of the ventricles, you have something down here that kind of looks similar to the pectinate muscles that you had in the atria, except they're not called pectinate muscles down here. They're called trabeculate carnae. So that's the inside of the ventricles. Going back to this, what's this thing here in the middle? That's the interventricular septum, all right? So that divides the ventricles from each other. Which ventricle is this over here?
Right.
That's the right, and then this is the left, okay? The trick, I told you, everybody, I think, at some point, the trick to telling the right from the left is to look at the outer wall, okay? If you've got a relatively thin outer wall, that's going to be the right ventricle. If it's big and thick, it's going to be the left ventricle. Sounds easy, but you know, on a quiz or a practical, I may not show you the whole heart. I'll just be like, whoa, what do we got? And then I'll be like, bang. And then I'll have to say to you, which ventricle is this? Yeah, that's the right, and then this is the left, okay? Always look at the thickness of the outer wall, and then you won't mess up, okay? All right. What do you suppose this thing is here? Don't all answer at once. That's the pulmonary valve, or you could call it the right semilunar valve, okay? And that's going to take blood then and put it into the pulmonary trunk. Blood goes out to the lungs, picks up oxygen, blah, 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 comes back to the lungs via the pulmonary veins, pulmonary veins empty into the left atrium. You're in the left atrium. Then what's this thing?
Bicuspid.
Yeah, that's the bicuspid valve, or you could call it the mitral valve, or you could call it the left AV valve. They all mean the same thing. Blood goes through there. Then you're into the left ventricle. And then what's this thing? That's the aortic valve. It goes up and sort of goes behind, and then it comes out in the aorta, just like that. All right. Let me go on to the sheet part.